John was a 24-year-old young man living in a small village nestled among peaceful mountains. Though he was surrounded by the stillness of nature, there was no peace within his heart. His mind was always in turmoil, like a storm that never ceased. One thought after another flooded in, overwhelming his spirit and leaving him constantly exhausted and uneasy. During the day, he dwelled on what had already passed, full of regret and sorrow over the past. At night, his mind would not stop worrying about things that had not yet happened in the future. Because of this endless cycle, John gradually lost his sense of tranquility. He no longer knew what a good night's sleep felt like, and even forgot how to smile. The smile that should naturally belong to a young man of his age. Although still very young, John felt as though he carried an invisible burden far too heavy to bear. People around him continued living their ordinary lives, but he seemed trapped in a vicious circle of thoughts and anxieties. He longed for a clear mind and a peaceful heart, yet the harder he tried, the more lost he became. And so the story of John begins from this very struggle. A young man who appeared to have his whole life ahead of him, yet had never truly found quietude within his soul. One morning, while his mind was once again weighed down by endless thoughts, John overheard a story about a small village hidden deep in the mountains. People spoke of an old man who once had been a well-known psychologist in the city. Throughout his life, this man had guided countless people toward inner peace and helped them find joy again. In his old age, however, he had left behind the noisy, busy life of the city and chosen instead the simplicity of nature. He now lived in a modest house covered in greenery, offering words of wisdom only to those truly searching for peace. When John heard this, a spark of hope flickered inside him. Perhaps this wise man can show me the way, he thought. That hope soon grew into determination, and John set out on a long and uncertain journey. The road was harsh, winding mountain paths, steep hills, the burning sun by day, and the chill of night. Many times exhaustion tempted him to stop, but his longing for peace gave him the strength to continue. At last, after many days of struggle, John reached the village. Before him stood a small house draped in vines, simple yet serene. On the porch sat an old man, eyes gently closed, his face radiating a calmness so deep it seemed to quiet the world around him. In that moment, John knew he had come to the right place. John hesitated for a moment, then slowly stepped forward. He spoke in a trembling voice. "Grandfather, my mind is restless. I cannot stop thinking. I worry for the future and grieve for the past. I long for peace, but I do not know how to find it. Can you help me?" The old man opened his eyes. They were kind and steady, filled not with judgment, but with warmth. A gentle smile spread across his face, and instantly John felt a weight lift from his chest. The old man nodded softly and said in a calm, steady tone, "My son, I understand your pain. Peace is not something far away. It has always been within you, but your mind has wandered astray. Today I will give you a small lesson. If you truly wish for calmness, follow what I ask." With that, he stood up and led John into the small yard. There, the old man filled a glass with water until it was brimming to the top. Handing it carefully to John, he said, "Take this glass, walk from here to the edge of the village and back again. But remember, do not spill a single drop." John accepted the challenge, holding the glass with both hands. Step by step, he walked carefully down the narrow path. Around him, the village was full of life. Children laughing as they played, dogs barking in the distance, shopkeepers calling out to customers. Yet John did not turn his head, nor did he allow himself to be distracted. Every bit of his focus was on the fragile glass in his hands. Slowly, steadily, he returned to the old man's porch. Breathing a sigh of relief, John smiled proudly. "Grandfather, I did it." Not a single drop was spilled. The old man nodded with approval, then asked gently, "Very good. But tell me, while you walked, did you hear the children laughing? Did you notice the dogs barking, or the people passing by?" John blinked, surprised. "No," he admitted. "I saw nothing, heard nothing. I only focused on the water." The old man's smile deepened. "And that is the secret. When your mind rests fully in the present moment, there is no room for regret of the past or fear of the future. Just as you focused only on the glass, your mind became quiet and still. Peace was always inside you. It appears the moment you learn to be here, in this very now." John stood silently, the meaning of the lesson sinking deep into his heart. It was as if a locked door inside him had finally opened. With gratitude shining in his eyes, John bowed his head. "Grandfather, now I understand. If I want peace, I must keep my mind in the present. Only then will I find true calmness." The old man smiled once more. The evening sun was setting, casting golden light across the land. Birds soared back to their nests, and the air grew soft with twilight. John turned to leave, but he was no longer the same restless young man who had arrived days before. His steps were lighter, his breath calmer, and a gentle smile returned to his lips. From that moment, John knew. The path to peace was not somewhere far away, nor in the hands of another. It had always been within him, waiting for him to come home to the present moment. And this is the gift John carried back with him, a message for us all. When the mind rests in the here and now, we too will discover the quiet peace that has always lived inside our hearts.